Aloha and welcome. Today's sequence is a practice of simple postures with an emphasis on observation of your breath. If we think of the body as a container, and along with the other contents of the body, the breath is part of that contents, we become aware rather quickly that when we change the shape of our container, just as if you change the shape of any container, vessel, bottle, vase, the shape of the contents will change. So when we do these postures, we do these asanas, we practice asana, we are constantly changing the shape, and therefore the place that the breath, the contents, moves. So the priority is to maintain a steady, even, balanced inhalation and exhalation throughout our asana practice. You will find as soon as you begin to move, as you begin to practice, that this is not always so easy. In some postures, the breath comes easily. In some postures, it does not. In some postures, the inhalation comes easier. In others, the exhalation comes easier. In some postures, one side or one portion of the container, of our body, of our lungs actually, is able to be aerated very well, and another is not. So today, as we move through the sequence, your job as a practitioner is to observe your breath. I'll give you clues along the way and see what has to be done so that you can maintain a balanced, even, steady inhalation and exhalation, regardless of the particular shape, the particular asana that we're making. So we're going to begin today in a position where you're prone. So you have two options here. You have two options. One is to be in Adho Mukha Virasana, okay, with support on your front body. So that support could be a bolster. It could also be a couple of blankets that you could make into a bolster. You open the blankets, stack them, evenly, roll them up to make a bolster. Okay? So that's another possibility. In the case that you're taking this pose, the knees come apart, the heels, big toes touch, and then watch what I do. I lift up, bring the space between the thumb and index finger behind my knees, and move the calf muscle back and out to the side as I sit back. That creates a little space behind the knees. Then I'm going to bring my hand underneath the knee and move the skin of the shin toward the kneecap. Could you see what I did? And that lifts up and moves the kneecap a little bit forward and creates more space in the front of the patella. So the child's pose you're going to do today is with the front body supported. If you need more height to do that, stack some blankets or towels. Arms are down and head is down, and you're going to turn your head to the side. Okay? So that's your pose. If Virasana is not possible for you, then you'll take your two blankets, and those of you who are all ready to go into Adho Mukha Virasana, please go. If you need the alternative pose today, you'll take a couple of blankets if you have them, or towels. If you don't, you can just lie on the floor without the support. And put the creases of your hips at the edge of the blankets. Lying prone, cross the arms and rest your head. If you're lying prone here, you lift one leg at a time. Turn the back of the thigh away from the center line and extend the legs evenly and be in the pose. I'll give you a moment to set up for your pose. And then be in Adho Mukha Virasana. Again, that pose is here, with the front body supported, arms down, head to the side, or prone shavasana. Now in both of these poses, so you choose your pose, in both of these poses, the front body is supported on something. Observe now your inhalations and your exhalations. And see, where does the breath touch when you inhale? Where does the breath touch when you exhale? As you inhale, in and out through the nose, keep your front body pressing down into the support, the bolster, the towels, the blankets, whatever you're using. Don't let it move away from the support as you inhale. And notice how the breath begins to fill the back chest, the part of your chest that's facing the ceiling. You may even notice that it starts to fill the side chest a little bit. There are air sacs, alveoli in each of your lungs, many, many, many of them. And in this particular pose, or any pose where the abdomen is down, the front body is down and supported, the breath has to move from the back to the front. So observe the breath in your back body. As you inhale, where does the breath touch? As you exhale, watch the breath go. Let yourself surrender. Let yourself embrace into the support, whether that's the floor, the blankets, the bolsters, the towels, whatever you're using. And see if you can bring a balance to the inhalation and the exhalation. Observing, do the right and left sides fill evenly? Observing how the breath moves, where the breath touches. If as you inhale you feel your skin moving towards your t-shirt, towards your shirt, keep that touch as you exhale. The breath may move the chest a little bit so that the skin moves toward the back of your shirt. Keep the touch as you exhale. It may expand a little to the sides. Try to keep that touch as long as you can as you exhale so that you continue to have a fullness in the inhalations and in the exhalations. Then slowly come out of your pose and remove the props from your mat. Now the next pose is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. You're going to take this pose with the hands as wide as the mat and the feet as wide as the mat for the first time. The wideness will give you space across the chest, the collarbones, the sternum, the wideness of the hands, and the wideness of the legs will give you space across the pelvis, which will allow some more space and openness in the abdomen and the all-important diaphragm, that muscle of breathing. So beginning with the hands as wide as the mat, you see I have my little fingers at the outer edges of the mat. I have my knees as wide as my hands. And then pressurizing both hands evenly, spreading the palms, pressing the heel of the hand and the knuckles down. I tuck the toes under, lift my knees off the floor, move my thighs back, then come to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. So the palms are pressing evenly. The inner upper arms roll toward the ceiling. The outer arms roll down toward the floor. The shoulders lift up to the hips lift up to the ceiling. And then I extend down strongly from my buttock bones to my heels. Moving the thighs back toward the wall behind me and the chest back towards the thighs. Now observe your breath here. And with each inhalation, see if you can press the hands down, lift the upper arms up, lift the back ribs up toward the waist, lift the hips up toward the ceiling. With each exhalation, move the chest back toward the thighs and the thighs back toward the wall behind you. Keep the back of the arms, the triceps that are facing the floor, moving away from the floor into the bone. As you inhale, continuing to lift the arms, lift the trunk up. With the exhalations, move the chest back to the thighs and the thighs back to the wall behind you. And then bend your knees and come back down for a nice safe landing. Now we're going to take dog pose again. we use the breath in that pose as an assist, right? We use the breath in Adho Mukha Svanasana, the inhalations to get the lift of the upper arms, the lift of the trunk, the lift of the hips, and we use the exhalations, keeping that lift, to move the chest back to the legs and the legs back to the wall behind you. Now continuing in that way the second time, and continue with the hands and the feet wide. Once you've done a few rounds of that, begin to observe your breathing and see how does the breath move. The pose may be a bit more strenuous than your first pose. Does that affect the breath? Can you find long, slow, soft, quiet inhalations, long, slow, soft, quiet exhalations in the pose? So once again, hands wide, feet wide, pressurize the palms, the knuckles, turn the upper arms from the inside out, tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the floor, move the thighs back, come to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog pose. And then first, begin to use your breath, right? Use the breath to assist the pose. The inhalations to lift the upper arms, to lift the shoulders up away from the back of the neck, to lift the hips up to the ceiling. And then keeping that lift, exhale, move the chest back toward the thighs, thighs back toward the wall behind you, and extend strongly from your sitting bones to your heels to move the outer edges of the heels closer or all the way down to the floor. Ears are in line to the inner upper arms. Now stay in your pose and observe the breath itself. So we use the breath here to get the shape of the pose. Now see, can you find a balance to the inhalations and the exhalations, meaning they're about the same length, the same depth, the same quality. And then bend your knees and come back down. Now we're going to stand up. So you don't need any props on your mat. You're going to take see how I stand at the back edge of my mat? So I want you to do the same thing. Take the legs wide apart. Take the legs wide apart so that back heels are at the edges of the mat. That will help you ensure that your feet are parallel. We're going to work with Prasarita Padottanasana, just the concave stage, the stage where your legs are wide, your back is parallel with the floor, hands are down on the floor. So if you know you're unable to put your hands on the floor, you can use a couple of blocks here, okay? So we're not coming all the way down with the head today, we're keeping the back parallel, and we're going to observe a few things here. So bring your hands on your waist, have your legs wide apart, toes are in a little, heels are out slightly. And observe your 2 feet, make sure you have the weight evenly pressing in the right and the left foot. Press the big toe side of both feet down. Lift the inner ankles up. And then press the outer edges of the feet down. Glue the little toe side of both feet to the floor. Extend the back of the legs from the sitting bones to the heels like you did in downward facing dog pose. And lift the quadriceps, lift the inner thighs up into the pelvis. Now squeeze the upper arms together to broaden the collarbones and open the chest. Inhale, look up. Exhale, extend forward. Keep the thighs moving back, trunk moving forward. Bring your hands down so that the wrists are under the elbows. Elbows are under the shoulders. Press the feet down again. Stretch the sitting bones to the heels. Lift the thighs up. Quadriceps up, inner thighs up to the pelvis. And now extend the navel toward the sternum toward the chin, and the crown of the head forward. You see how my head isn't falling down? I continue to look forward here and turn the arms like I did in downward facing dog pose, from the inside out. Tricep rolls forward, bicep rolls back, and I continue to pressurize the feet and hands and work with my legs. Sitting bones to heels, inner thighs, quadriceps lifting up. Kneecaps lift up to the middle of the thighs. Now observe your breath here. your inhalation, your exhalation, and notice where the breath moves. You'll find mostly that the breath moves from the back to the front. You may feel a little bit of movement in this direction also, from the bottom to the top when you inhale and the top to the bottom when you exhale. Now, turn your hands out. Turn your hands out. You'll see that helps the rotation of the inner upper arms. And now observe your breath and see how you get a little bit of movement now horizontally in the chest, right? From the sternum to the sides. When the hands turn out, there's a difference. If you're not sure, turn the hands back, take an inhalation and an exhalation. And then turn the hands out and do the same thing, and notice how the breath begins to touch these top corners of the chest. And then keeping your legs as they are, bring your hands onto your waist, press your feet down. From your collarbones, lift yourself all the way back up, and then step your feet, your legs back together again. Be in Tadasana. Be in Tadasana, the mountain pose. Whether you have your feet together, if that's not possible for you, you can have the big toes together, the heels a little bit apart, or you can have your feet slightly apart today. But do have the outer edges of the feet parallel to the edges of the mat. If you have the feet apart, press down into both feet evenly, extend the sitting bones to the heels, pull the thighs up again, same as we did in the last two poses. Now observe your breath in Tadasana. Take a slow, soft, quiet, deep inhalation in a slow, soft, quiet, deep exhalation. Keep the collarbones wide as you do. Keep the tops of the shoulders moving down, away from the back of your neck. Notice how the breath moves here, mostly as you inhale, from the back chest to the front chest. Observe the inhalations. Keep the openness that you get on the inhalation as you watch the exhalations go. Now, let's do together. Inhale your arms to Urdhva Hastasana with the palms facing each other. Collarbones stay wide, shoulders down away from the back of your neck. Observe your legs, make sure your feet are pressing, sitting bones extending to the heels, thighs lifting up in the front. Reach from the sides of your waist to your armpits, to your elbows, and out through your little fingers, out through the pinky finger. Get the back of the arms opening. And now observe as you inhale and exhale how the breath moves. In this pose, I think you'll find that there's a vertical movement on the inhalation. You'll feel this up on the inhalation from the bottom to the middle to the top chest, and you'll feel when you exhale how it wants to move down. Now release the arms by your side. Take the arms to the side into Parshva Hastasana. Now turn the upper arm so that the palm faces up, roll the thumb back and down toward the floor. Stay in Tadasana, feet pressing evenly, sitting bones to heels, thighs lifting up, kneecaps lifting up into the thighs, thighs lifting up into the pelvis. And now observe your inhalation here. Keep whatever moves, wherever the touch is, as you exhale. And I think you'll find here that the inhalation now has more of a horizontal movement. The inhalation tends to move from the center of your chest out to your hands, and you feel a widening, perhaps with the inhale. Keep whatever opening you get in the inhalation as you exhale and release the arms back down by your sides. Now we'll take the arms to Urdhva Hastasana again with the palms facing forward. Now the palms face forward. Observe your breath here. Stay in your Tadasana legs, either feet together or apart. I'll bring my feet together so you could observe how that looks. Feel the vertical movement, but also notice there's a little bit of widening. Turn the palms to face each other. Inhale and exhale. Now turn the palms forward and inhale and exhale. And see if you didn't notice when the palms face forward, like when we turned the hands out in the last pose, Prasarita Padottanasana, you begin to get a movement across. You begin to feel the breath, the width of the breath, and then release the arms back down along your sides. Be in Tadasana. Eyes soft, brain quiet, eyes quiet. Looking forward, looking slightly up. So don't tip your head up, but keep your gaze forward and up so that the brain stays quiet, eyes are soft, gaze is soft, and observe your breath. See if just this little bit of observation already, with this little bit of focus on the breath, if it hasn't somehow changed something for you. Okay. Now we're going to move a little bit along to Garudasana. So these are just the arms. We're going to stay in Tadasana. The arms are eagle arms, Garudasana arms. So you bend your left elbow, take the right arm underneath and wrap the arms. Press the palms together, lift the elbows up, drop the tops of the shoulders down, widen your collarbones, and observe your inhalation here. And do you see here now, when you inhale, the breath touches yet a different area. For most of us, I would say, it's the top part of the chest. Even the collarbones, when you inhale, tend to widen away from the neck. And then releasing, slowly unwind the arms, bend the right, bring the left underneath, wrap the arms again, press the palms together, drop the top shoulders down, lift the elbows up. And then as you inhale and exhale, observe your breath, particularly with the inhalation, see where the breath touches. Again, my suggestion or my point of observation is higher up on the chest here, maybe even the collarbones when you inhale. You feel a different widening, a different movement. And then unwind the arms and bring them back down. Now, if you have a wall, I'd like you to go to the wall. If you have a wall, I'd like you to go to the wall. I'll give you a second to do that, okay? If you don't have a wall, you'll do the pose without, but the wall will be very, very helpful today. So we're going to take the sitting bones to the wall. Your heels do not have to be in the wall, but you take your buttocks to the wall. See that the hips are even here. You take the shoulders back toward the wall, but not the head. Keep the head forward. We're going to take Utkatasana now. Fierce pose. So you'll raise the arms again to Urdhva Hastasana. Find that lift, find that vertical movement that we found when we were in the pose before. And then descend the buttock bones down to bend the knees. Descend the buttock bones down to bend the knees. Keep the weight in your heels. Keep the inner thighs moving down. And as you raise the arms up from the sides of the waist to the fingers, drop the buttocks down and feel that two-directional pull. Feel that two-directional pull. Now observe your inhalations and feel how there's a lengthening in the lower bottom part of your chest, in the lower lung area. There's a stretch in two directions which elongates the bottom lobes of both lungs. Straighten the legs, inhale, reach your arms up and come back down. Take a breath here. Raise the arms up. Descend the buttock bones to bend the knees. Keep the weight in your heels. Keep the inner thighs rolling down. Outer thighs pulling back to the hips. Now observe your breath here, and as you inhale, reach the arms up, descend the buttocks down, and feel that bi-directional pull, that two directions down here in the bottom part of the lung, stretching, elongating, making space, and then pressing the feet down, straighten the legs, reach the arms up, and come back to Tadasana. Be in Tadasana and observe. Now, Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. So from the center of your mat, you're going to bring your fingers in front of your chest, bend your knees, and either step or jump your arms and legs wide apart. We're going to touch the pose. In other words, we're going to go do the pose on both sides, Observe, make some changes, and then repeat it. So you turn the left foot in just a little bit, turn the whole right leg out 90 degrees, keep your abdomen, ribs, and chest facing forward. See how I come wider with my legs? Give yourself space today. And then inhale, extend your trunk forward. Exhale, come down into the pose, bring the hand to the shin. You can use a brick here if you want. Roll the top shoulder back, lift the top arm up. And now observe here. Once you're in the pose, exhale the breath completely. Take a slow, steady, quiet inhalation. And notice which side of your chest gets inflated more, top or bottom. And then pressing into your left leg, use your left arm and come up. Bring your hands on your waist, turn your right foot in, turn your left leg all the way up. Make that nice wide distance between the legs. Keep the outer edge of the right foot down, inner edge of the left foot down. Keep this left thigh lifting up, left thigh and right thigh turning out. Inhale, extend the left arm. Exhale, come down to the pose. Roll the right shoulder back. Take the bottom ribs forward. Take the top arm up. You all know the pose. I want you to observe here once you get stable in your pose. I want you to observe. Exhale the breath completely. Take a slow, steady, soft, complete inhalation. And notice where the breath touches more, top or bottom side ribs. And then pressing down into your right foot, use your right arm to come up. Turn your left toes to face forward. Hands on the waist, step the arms and legs, or step the legs back together here. So I would guess that for most of you, when you inhale, you found that the breath was more in the top side of your lungs. There was more of a opening in the top ribs. And this side was a little bit stuck. This side gets a little bit underinflated. So in order to fix that, in order to find that balanced, even breath in Trikonasana, we're going to look at how you come into the pose. So these are your side ribs here. Rather than just inhaling, extending, and exhaling, come down, I want you to take breaths along the way as you come into the pose. And with each inhalation, make each rib extend a little further out toward your armpit. So let's do together here. You can take your legs apart, hands on the waist. Turn the left foot in, turn the whole right leg out 90 degrees. Turn both thighs inside out, press the little toe side of the left foot down strongly, big toe side of the right foot down, and lift this right thigh up. Now, keep your left hand on the waist, extend the right arm out, and begin to come down. Imagine that your arm starts here. Imagine you have multiple arms, like one of those Indian statues. Your bottom arm goes first. Inhale, exhale. Then the arm at the next rib, go. And then the arm at the next rib, go. Until you feel this lengthening from the bottom waist to the armpit. Then bring your hand down, roll the left shoulder back. Take the head back so the back of the head lines up to the sacrum. Lift the top arm up. And then coming in that way now, observe your breath and see if you don't get a little more touch of the breath now in this bottom rib area. If there's not more of a balance in the side ribs, in other words, the right and left side of the lung, inflating more evenly now. Press the left foot down, pull with the left arm, come up. Hands on the waist, turn the right toes in, turn the left leg out. Now again, remember, you have multiple arms here now. You have an arm, an arm, an arm. As you come down, each arm reaches. So it's not one breath to come down. Take a few breaths. Inhale, extend one arm. Exhale, inhale, extend the next arm. So you get that maximum length from the left waist to the left armpit, and you'll see what happens to your aeration in the bottom lung. So here we go, extending. Each arm extending. Don't turn your head to the floor, keep looking forward. Inhaling, extend, exhaling, move to the next arm, next rib, hands down. Roll the left or right shoulder back. Take the back of the head back to line up with your tailbone. Reach the top arm up. And now observe your breath. And see, did you get a little more breath into this bottom rib area, into the left side ribs? In other words, the left lung and right lung are getting more equally aerated. And then pressing down into your right foot, pull with your right arm, come up, turn your left toes forward, and bring your feet back together again. Stand in Tadasana and observe your breath. Take your feet slightly apart. Take your feet slightly apart. Again, when the feet become wider apart, just like we changed the position of the hands, we changed the legs, we went really wide. Triangle pose, they're wider. Tadasana, feet together, they're more narrow. When we widen the feet a little bit, or a lot, the pelvis widens. When the pelvis widens, the abdomen becomes soft and widens, and so does the diaphragm, right? That area above the abdomen, below the bottom ribs. Keeping this area soft, able to spread and open, improves your breath, but it also quiets your mind. When the abdomen grips, when the diaphragm grips, there's fear. If we see something shocking, we get gripped with fear. We can work in reverse. We can soften these areas. Spinal cord's right here, right behind the diaphragm. When it's soft and quiet, the message from the spinal cord to the brain is that it's okay to be quiet. It's okay to be reflective. It's okay to observe, which is the point of the practice today. Now, in Tadasana with the feet slightly apart, pressurize both feet evenly. Inner edges of the feet down, spread the toes from the big toe side to the little toe side. Press the toe mounds down, extend through the toes. Keep the toe mounds pressing down and stretching through the toes as you extend back to the heels. From the toe mounds extending forward to the toes and backward to the heels. Now bring the arms in front, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward, pull the elbows in and go to Urdhva Baddha. Raised arms pose. Down fingers pose, with the arms raised. Now spread the collarbones away from the sides of your neck. Release the tops of the shoulders away from the back of your head. Now, observe the breath here. The inhalations and exhalations. Feel that vertical movement. Now, let's take the stretch a little bit further and continue to press the palms, but now begin to stretch from here, from the side waist, all the way up to the palms. And observe your abdominal area when you do that. And when you lifted from there and press the palms, did you see how the abdomen moves back to support the back ribs? Take the arms down, switch your interlace, and do the other side. So just go straight up now, stay in Tadasana, toe mounds pressing, heels pressing, extending from the toe mounds to the toes and back to the heels at the same time. Separate the collarbones away from the sides of the neck. Release the tops of the shoulders away from the back of your head. Observe the vertical movement up and down of the breath. Inhaling, the breath goes bottom to top. Exhaling, it moves top to bottom. Now from the waist, go. From the waist, go up to the palms. From the waist to the armpits, extend. Armpits to elbows, extend. Elbows to wrists, extend. Wrists to palms, extend. And feel again how this lower abdominal area moves back to support the bottom ribs. And then release the arms and come down. So these are important actions for the breath. These are important actions for the breath. The spreading of the diaphragm, this abdominal diaphragm area moving back so it's not puffing forward, the moving up and down of the breath, the moving sideways of the breath, the inhalation on the right and left side. All of these points are important for that ability to maintain a steady inhalation and exhalation no matter the shape of the body, which is the theme of our practice today. If you have a block, I'd like you to get one now. If you don't have a block, have a book or something you can use for your hand, that would be helpful. I'm going to take a wooden block from here. and place it on my mat, on the right side of the mat. Then I take the legs apart again, hands on the waist, turn the left foot in, turn the right leg out. So we can do this together. Now we're going to take Uttita Parshva Konasana here. You're going to go straight to the pose like you did with triangle pose and observe your breath. Okay, so we can do together. Press the outer edge of the left foot down, lift the inner thigh up. Press the big toe side of the right foot down, lift the outer thigh up. Now with the hands on the waist and the back foot down, bend your right knee, make a square. Take the buttock bone forward to bend the knee. Keep the front hip lifting up. Extend the arms to Virabhadrasana 2. Now from here, keeping the outer edge of the left foot down, bring the left hand on the waist. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come down, put your hand on the block and turn. Roll the left shoulder back, take the bottom ribs forward, take your top arm up, and extend it out over your ear. Stretch back from the left outer hip to the outer heel, forward from the left outer hip to the fingertips, keeping the outer edge of the back foot down. Keep the outer right thigh descending toward the floor. Now, exhale the breath completely. Observe your inhalation. And then exhale and notice which side of your chest, bottom or top, is getting more breath in this pose. And then pressing the left foot down, pull with the left arm, straighten the right leg and come up. Other side, Uttita Parshva Konasana. Turn the left leg out, right foot in, press the outer edge of the right foot down. Hands on the waist first, bend the knee. Take the buttock bone forward to bend the knee. Keep the knee moving back, hip moving forward. Extend the left arm. Inhale, exhale, come down. Bring your hand to your block or to your support. Take the bottom ribs, that's these left ribs forward, right ribs back. Extend the arm up. Keep reaching up to take the arm out over your ear. Keep the outer edge of the back foot down. Stretch from the right outer hip to the right outer heel. And forward from the right outer hip to the fingertips. Take an inhalation here. And observe which side of the chest, which lung is getting more breath, top or bottom. And then pressing the right foot down, use your right arm to pull yourself up. As you do, lift from this middle thigh to come up, straighten the leg. Turn your toes to face forward and step your feet back together. So I would guess again that in Uttita Parshva Konasana, the top lung was getting more air. The top lung was getting better ventilation. So as we did in Trikonasana, we're going to change how we come into the pose, and particularly how we turn in Uttita Parshva Konasana, to see if we can't bring breath to that bottom lung, the bottom side ribs. In other words, the bottom lung will be expanding as much or close to as much as the top, okay? So the way we're going to do this is take the legs apart again, switch your block, turn the right leg out, left foot in, bend the knee, from the buttock bone extend to the knee, keep the right knee moving back, right hip moving forward. Keep this right waist up so you don't tilt forward here. So you descend the thigh, lift the front waist up. Take your right arm out, inhale, extend. Exhale, come down and turn. Right ribs forward, left ribs back. Now, for a second here, pause, observe your breath. See how more inhalation's coming into the top lung, top side ribs. Now bring your palm alongside your ear. Bring your palm alongside your ear, fingers facing towards your head. And with the elbow bent, roll it back toward the wall behind you. Roll it back, take the right ribs forward, left ribs back more, and turn. And begin to feel how there's more space coming into your right bottom ribs now. And then from there, extend the arm out over your ear. Exhale the breath completely. Observe. When you inhale the next time, have you been able to find more balance between the top and bottom lung? The top side ribs and bottom side ribs. Pressing into the left foot, use your left arm to come up. As you straighten the right leg, Turn the right leg forward. Turn the left leg out, switch your block. Come down. On your own now. Right hand on the waist, outer edge of the right foot down. Inhaling, extend. Exhaling, come forward. Bring the hand down and turn. Right shoulder rolls back. Left side ribs come forward. Observe your inhalations here and see how the breath is more in the right side chest, right lung. Bring the hand alongside the ear, palm alongside the ear, fingers face your head. Now roll. Roll the elbow back. As you roll the right elbow back, take the left side ribs forward. Take the left side ribs forward towards your left knee. Turn, turn, turn. See how the breath comes now, starts to fill more into the bottom ribs, the left lung, and then extend the arm out over your ear, continuing to turn and observe your breath. Press the outer edge of the right foot down. Pull with your right arm as you straighten the left leg and come up. Turn your left toes forward and step your feet together. Tadasana. Let your breath come back to normal. So sometimes after standing poses, or any pose that's strenuous, the breath gets a little uneven. So be in Tadasana. Eyes quiet and soft. Muscles in the face quiet and soft. Release the shoulders down, broaden the collarbones. Press the feet evenly down. Toe mounds press down and stretch to the toes. Toe mounds continue to press down and stretch to the toes as you stretch from the toe mounds to the heels. Toe mounds to the toe tips. Toe mounds to the toe heels so the legs are firm, the eyes move back, and see if you don't feel some spaciousness for your breath from just a little bit of practice that we've done today, or at least observe. Maybe you're noticing a little bit more clearly how the breath moves now from this practice that we've been doing. Now for the next pose, I'd like to use a wall again. If you absolutely do not have a wall, you can do the pose independently. It's Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Or if not, you can skip the pose. If you're going to skip the pose, then I suggest that you repeat triangle pose. That you repeat triangle pose and observe the two sides. Remember how you came down lengthening the bottom side ribs. Otherwise, you're doing Ardha Chandrasana with a wall. You can also do it with a chair or a high support. I'll get a chair and show you how that would look. So if you have a chair or a stool, right, this is Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon pose, right? From triangle pose, you bend the knee. The chair has to be out side of your little toe and out to the front here, okay? And then I bend the knee, step the back foot in, bring the hand down, and lift the leg. Ardha Chandrasana. Okay, so this is with a chair. You can do it independently, or a bench or a stool. You can do it independently with the block, or you can do it at the wall. Okay? I'll show at the wall. Again, you can decide, take a minute and get what you need for your pose. Again, the chair works nicely if you don't have a wall and you need some support. To use the wall, my back is at the wall. The block goes outside my little toe, between the wall and the toe. I take the arms out. My back foot's turned in a little bit. Let's start on the other side, huh? Turn your right leg out. So I back at the wall, right leg turns out. I have my left heel at the wall. Okay, I have space between my right little toe and wall for the block. Okay, now I come to triangle pose. Turn the back shoulder toward the wall. So let's do this much together. And then you'll come to Ardha Chandrasana. So the first thing you do is bend your right knee, step the back foot in a little bit, and advance your hand with the block about a foot forward. And then come up. Keep pressurizing the big toe side of your right foot. Lift your right outer thigh up and move your hip into your body, away from the wall. Roll the left shoulder back toward the wall. Now take your arm along your side. Take your arm along your side and now observe your breath. Inhale and exhale. And now when you inhale the next time, as you inhale, take your top arm and pull it down behind you. Inhale, pull the arm down and turn. And exhale. Each inhalation, pull the arm down again. Down behind you. And exhale. And observe how using that top arm creates maximum space now in these side ribs, in the intercostal muscles, the muscles of breathing between the ribs. Now bend your right knee, tap your back foot down, straighten your leg, come back to triangle pose, and then come up. Switch sides. Okay, turn your right toes in. Turn your left leg out, so either you're moving your chair, or your block, or you're doing independently, move your block, whatever support you're using. I have my right outer edge of the heel at the wall. Maybe you can do that. There's space again between my left little toe and the wall, so the block can go there. Inhale, extending. Remember the multiple arms. Huh? I'm extending from the bottom arm to my real arm to come to triangle pose. I roll the right shoulder back. Take the left side ribs forward. Now I'm going to bend the left knee. Go ahead. Step your back foot forward. Take your left hand forward about a foot and come up. Pressurize the inner edge, the big toe side of your left foot. So that foot stays facing forward. Lift the thigh up, outer thigh up, and move the hip into your body. Move the hip into your body. Take the right arm along your side. Roll the left shoulder back and take the left side ribs forward toward the center of the room. Now observe your breath here. Inhale and exhale. And now with your inhalation, each inhalation, now take your top arm and pull it down behind you. Pull it down behind you as you inhale. Keep keep this thigh that's facing the floor of your lifted leg sucked into your body. Stretch back through the heel and that lifted leg. And with the inhalations, now pull the top arm down behind you and see how the top chest responds. See how the intercostal muscles, the muscles of breathing between your ribs on the right side can inflate even more. See how the lungs can inflate more as you make more space between the ribs. Now to come out, bend your left knee, tap your back foot down, straighten your left leg, come back to triangle pose, and then pressing into your right foot, pull with your right arm and come up. Turn your left toes forward and step your feet back together. Tadasana. So use Tadasana to recover the breath. Soft eyes, soft gaze, soft abdomen, collarbones wide, shoulders away from the ears, and observe now your breath. How has the breath changed since we last checked in? Take a few moments here to settle down, observe your breath. Now we're going to come down. If you can, you'll sit in Virasana. You can use a block. If not, you'll sit with your legs crossed, Swastikasana. Okay? This is Virasana. Knees go together. Like I did in Adho Mukha Virasana, the space between the thumb and the index finger goes behind my knee. I pull the calf muscle back and away from the knee and out to the side. And I'm sitting on the block. The heels, you can see, are outside of my hips here. If you're sitting on your heels, and your outer thighs are rolling in, not down or out, you have to sit higher. If you have a knee problem, you'll just sit cross legs like we did in the beginning of the class. Also notice the block is this direction, not this direction, this direction. Right? So I can completely get the sitting bones down, ankles, shins, tops of the feet down. If you're sitting cross legs, press the outer edges of the feet, outer thighs down, shoulders back, over the hips. Tops of the shoulders down, broaden the collarbones, take the arms in the front, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward, Parvatasana, Virasana. So as you did before, observe here, spread the collarbones, release the top shoulders away from the back of your head. And as you stretch from the sides of the waist all the way up, see me go, 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 feel how the low part of the abdomen moves back a little bit to support the back ribs. The diaphragm spreads, the abdomen spreads. And then release the arms, come down, switch the interlace and go up. Just go up easy. Spread the collarbones, press the palms to the ceiling. And now from the sides of the waist, go more. Keep the shoulders down as you take the palms up. Go from the sides of the waist. And feel again that movement down here. Feel how the bottom-most lobes of the lung get a stretch here and support from the abdomen moving back slightly toward the back ribs. Don't force it, just notice how it moves, release the arms. Now if you do Shirshasana, stop the video, this is your time to do headstand. The same movements here, the same here, the hands here, all of the things that we've put together for the opening of the chest, this spreading of the diaphragm, this moving of the bottom ribs back, all has to come into play in your Shirshasana. In your headstand today, observe your breath. Observe what you do when you're upside down. Observe how does the breath change when you're in Shirshasana, when you're completely upside down, supported on your head balance. Then the sequence moves on now, and we're going to all finish with Setu Bandha Sarvangasana on a soft support. So either you've stopped and done Shirshasana, come out and joining us here, or you just keep going for your Setu Bandha. So like in the beginning, if you have a bolster, that's great. If you don't have a bolster, you can make a roll out of 2 blankets. Right? Remember how I showed in the beginning? Fringes facing, or you can use a couple of towels here and roll up and make a blanket, make a roll. Okay? So, if you're fortunate enough to have both, a blanket and a bolster, you can make a long bench. You see, they're about the same height here. If you have just one, you'll just have one. So the important thing with Setu Bandha here is where the chest goes, okay? So let me just show here as if you just had a bolster. Okay, I'll show if you just had a bolster what you're going to do. So the first thing is you can put support here if you want. You can put a towel or a blanket for your head if you need, or not. The bolster's in the center of the mat. I'm going to sit on the edge of the bolster here. Keep my feet on the floor, knees bent, lie back. And now what I want to do is bring my head and my shoulders onto the floor. Okay? But not just shooting straight back. See how I press the elbows down? Palms face each other, and as I push the elbows down, my chest comes up. The sides of my chest now by the armpits, which is where this pose is going to touch the most, begins to rise up from the floor. And then keeping that, I coil back, keep the shoulders moving toward my heels, and then bring the shoulders and head to the floor. And you see this nice shape of the chest here. The armpit chest area, this upper chest wall below the armpits now is getting lifted up toward the ceiling. Then the legs go straight. So if you had the second blanket here, it would be nice, they'd be up on that. If you don't, you can put your heels on blocks, or you can just keep the legs here. If you have a block or something to put the heels on to raise the legs to parallel, it makes the pose a little softer. I'll give you a few moments to get yourself situated. Now the important points here I'll go through in just a minute. I'm going to add the support for the legs. You may or may not have that. You could just use a block for your heels as well. Again, I start without the legs, come down, push the elbows down, lift the chest, and then I have something nice to extend the legs on. Now, once I'm here, keep the legs extending. I move the shoulders toward my heels. Do you see that? So I don't splay out toward my head. The back of my head, watch what I do. I don't know if you can see on your videos, but I'm going to lengthen the back of my head away from my neck. So my chin comes toward my chest, and I'm gazing into my heart here. If this is too much for your lower back, you just bend your knees, keep the chest open with bent knees. Don't let the knees go to the side. If you do, keep the thighs rolling in. With your inhalations, now press the legs down if they're straight. And feel how the chest lifts even more. That armpit chest area gets even more expansion when you press the legs down with your inhalations. Eyes can be closed, soft. Observe the breath here. Long, slow, soft, quiet inhalations. Long, slow, soft, quiet exhalations through the nose. And feel the vastness, feel the expansiveness of your breath in this pose. You stay, I'm going to come out. And give you a few more moments in Setu Bandha. So, again, it's the armpit chest area. Take a slow, soft, quiet, complete inhalation. Slow, soft, quiet, complete exhalation, in and out through the nose. Observing now the vastness, the expansiveness, the openness in your chest from this particular shape. Use the legs pressing down as you inhale to open the chest more. Keep your diaphragm and your abdomen soft. Remember that movement of the diaphragm, of the abdomen back to support the bottom ribs. You can feel that in this pose. You can feel how that allows that moving back and spreading of the abdomen and diaphragm allows for the breath to become even fuller. And then take your time, slowly bend your knees, come out of your pose, and into Shavasana. You can take Shavasana today lying on the floor, just flat. You can take support any way you want. If lying on the floor bothers your lower back, you put a roll, like a roll blanket, or a bolster underneath your knees. Otherwise, you can just lie flat. Just watch for a second. Watch for a second coming into Shavasana. So you start with bent knees, and then lower yourself down slowly. You see how I came to my forearms first? And then I keep my buttocks moving toward my heels, my trunk stretching toward my head as I lie down, and bring the head down less. You see my knees are still bent. Then the elbows into the floor, palms face each other, and as I press the elbows down, I get that nice lift of the chest that I got in the last pose. I want to keep that and release the arms to the sides. You see there's space between my armpits and my inner upper arms. The arms aren't glued to my side. There's an openness, a vastness there for the breath, that's the storehouse of your energy in that area. So that stays open, and then you extend the legs one by one. Feet go to the side, they release from the big toe to the little toe. Abdomen soft. Back of the arms, legs, head releasing into the So come to your Shavasana again. You can support under the knees with a roll if your lower back is bothered. You can support under your head if your chin pokes toward the ceiling. You can support under your, you can lie on the bolster and keep the chest open if you want to take that version of a supported Shavasana. Be in Shavasana. Release your back body down to the floor. So come down as I said. Go through those stages. Keep the buttocks moving toward the heels. The sides of the trunk moving away from the waist. So your lumbar spine stays long. Space between the inner upper arms and the upper chest wall so your arms aren't glued to your side. Palms face up in a gentle soft cup. Just for a second, roll your thumbs to the floor. Feel that opening in the chest and then keep the opening, but loosen the grip on your thumb. Loosen the grip on your fingers. So the palm is soft. Fingers aren't gripping, soles of the feet are soft, toes aren't gripping. Legs, arms, back, trunk, quiet. Soften the muscles in your face. Move the eyes away from the lids. Deflate the eardrums toward the center of your head. Deflate the temples toward the center of your head. Soften the skin on your forehead away from the space between the eyebrows and out towards the ears. From behind the earlobes, release to your chin so that your jaw becomes soft and there's a little space between the top and bottom teeth. Now begin to take some slower, deeper breaths in and out through your nose. And just observe your normal breath now. Is there an ease? Is there a fullness? Is there less effort required for the breath to become full? And as we said in the beginning, the inhalations and the exhalations, slow, soft, quiet, and balanced. Then begin to move a little gently. As you feel ready, bend one knee and the other knee, roll to your right side. Take a few breaths there. And then slowly press yourself up to a seated position. Sit with the eyes closed, the palms in namaskar in front of your chest, in front of your heart. Slowly bow your head down to your heart and surrender yourself there. Lift your head slowly. Release your palms to your thighs and slowly open up your eyes. Mahalo everyone. See you back in class very soon.